Well, today I'm starting a different process on my spiritual talks. And I think the reason is because I've covered so much over the years. I think that whatever inspires me to talk about, if people ask questions, I might talk about that. Just different odd things. Today, the very basics, and when I say basics, I'm talking about the essence of everything. And I was looking up, I always say Brahman, Brahman. I spell it so that you know what I'm talking about. And I don't pronounce it correctly. I looked it up better, and so I probably should, out of respect to the ancient Hindus, pronounce it Brahman. It seems like you just lightly touch on the H, Brahman. Anyways, so this comes back to the essence of everything. I hope I don't cough, by the way, because I've got allergies. So that could happen. The concept of Brahman is not understood. And of course, the reason it's not understood is there's no way to understand it. The only way we have any information or information has come to us, when I say us, I'm talking about the planet Earth, the Hindus of hundreds of thousands of years ago. The only way that information has made its way to us about the nature of Brahman is through one individual only. And that would be, the generic term is used God, but that refers to as Brahma. And it is depicted by Jesus several times. It was mentioned in the scriptures where he would kneel down in the Garden of Gethsemane and he would pray to what he referred to as his Father in heaven. And he made other mentions about this deity that he prayed to. And the other mentions that he said was, no one has seen the Father except the Son. And so in ancient Hinduism, we could substitute Jesus for Krishna. But it's the same thing. You cannot get the information about Brahman without it coming directly from Brahma. There is no way. And when Jesus says no one has seen the Father except the Son, what he's indicating, it's not that he's the greatest of all greats, maybe he is, but what he's trying to depict is he's an actual human being on the planet Earth that is physical like you and I. And he's able to communicate to us the same things that Brahma would say if Brahma were to exist in the physical nature. Yet, Jesus was not Brahma, and Jesus was not the God that he prayed to. It is so damned confusing because on purpose, the God of this reality, Shiva or Satan, I'd like to say he purposely perverts the teachings, and maybe that's true, but I like more to think that he doesn't understand the nature of Brahma. And because of that, he runs his kingdom, the reality that we live in such a way that he thinks that he's doing the right thing. I don't want to go down that path too far, but he's wrong. And because of these little issues of being wrong and not interpreting the true nature of Brahma, then everything gets perverted and changes. The foundation is off a little bit. So knowing how difficult it is to have direct communication with Brahma, and you can, by the way, you can pray directly to Brahma. You don't have to pray to Christ or Shiva or anybody else. You can pray directly to Brahma. And you don't have to use the name Brahma, because that's just a made-up name. Brahma didn't come down to this physical planet and teach Hinduism millions of years ago and go, by the way, my name is Brahma. No, that name is made up. And it doesn't matter. I mean, in Christianity, they have no idea who Brahma is. They have no idea who the God of reality is. Because in Christianity, they mistakenly assume, for the most part, that God is Satan or Shiva, because that's the God of this reality, and he's masked himself very well. Trying not to cough. And so I know I'm rambling here, but to get to the point, there's no way to know the nature of Brahman without getting that information from Brahma. And nobody has seen Brahma except the sun. So it's going to be literally impossible for anyone to talk intellectually about the nature of Brahma without having direct, shall I say, visions, revelations, answers to prayers, whatever, from Brahma. And that's where the confusion comes in on the very foundation. Meaning, we got Advaita. People don't understand the true meaning of Advaita. Vedanta, that's easy to understand. All that means is the culmination of everything, all the correct teachings of all the Vedas and everything. That's what Vedanta means. So, trying to figure out the nature of Brahman is better seen as, well, definitely do not refer to Brahman as a god. You're wasting your time if you're praying to Brahman, because Brahman is not aware of itself. It isn't a self. It's beyond self. It isn't a deity. It would be the equivalent of going to a art museum with Michelangelo paintings or some of the greatest artists in the world, and someone goes up and looks at the painting and goes, "Oh my gosh, what quality of paint did the artist use? I like this paint, and I wonder what brush he used. I really like the brush." Totally ignoring the actual painting. Brahman would be the equivalent of the paintbrush and the paint and all the unorganized mishmash of stuff. The artist utilizes that unorganized mishmash of stuff, regardless. I mean, some artists take plants and they squish the petals and the different parts to make the color they're looking for to do their paintings and stuff. So it's the artist that you look at as the God. If you want to know anything about anything, you ask the artist. You don't walk up to a palette of paint and start talking to it and go, how did you make that painting? I just adore that painting. Nobody would talk to the paint. That would be ignoramus, because the paint is not going to talk back. It's just the material that the artist used to create the painting. So if you refer to Brahman, the God that Jesus prayed to, then you're talking to the actual artist. And the artist can tell you about the paints and where he got them and this and that and everything else, but he doesn't pray to the paint either, because he knows that it's just the materials that he utilizes to create what he creates. So Brahma created the entire universe and everything in it. And then you have Vishnu, or better known in Christianity as Christ, who has been through multiple kalpas and is here as one of the, if not the only individual that survived another kalpa of time and became one with Brahma, and is now the recognized God, if you will, of this entire universe, because he's the one that essentially created it using the architectural plans of Brahma. Now that's one theory that is probably correct, but either way, nobody talks to or prays to the paint or the paintbrush. Now, mind you, when you get back to, and the reason I'm telling you this, or the way I'm telling you this, is not because I've read this. You're not going to back this up. What you're going to do is to verify what I'm saying. You have to reach into the core of your heart, the core of your Atman, your essence, and you have to depend, not only depend, but trust your heart and your soul to tell you what is right about what I'm telling you. And when you pray to this God that Jesus prayed to, when you pray to this God and you ask for wisdom and knowledge, possibly over the course of your lifetime, this God will talk to you and tell you the truth that is either similar or exactly like what I'm telling you. Now, the reason I say similar is because no matter what I tell you, it's filtered through my essence. It's filtered through all the knowledge that I've ever acquired since I was born. So a different person can see the exact same truth from Brahma as I have and define it slightly different or slightly differently. And the interesting part is, even though it's slightly different, it doesn't matter. It's still defining the same thing, and you are interpreting it and getting it a little differently. But recognize that Brahman isn't even the paint. It isn't even the paintbrush. It is beyond that. It isn't anything that is organized. It has no awareness of itself. It has no awareness of anything. It shouldn't even be referred to as a thing or anything. It is, you can use words to surround it somewhat and try to flesh it out by saying, well, it's unorganized, I know what it is, and I can't even say it. It's so bizarre. I know what Brahman is, and I can't even say the words. It's so bizarre. It's the nothingness that is everythingness. If there's any beauty that you see in it, it's only because what you are seeing has already been created by Brahma or Christ or anyone else. Mind you, now I'll get to the Atman in a second, which in reality, I'm pretty darn certain you could substitute Atman with what I always refer to as essence. The only reason I don't like to use the term Atman is because it is so misunderstood and misused by literally everyone in these days that if I use the word Atman, you just automatically assume the meaning of what the people have defined it. And so I don't even use that. I use the term essence, which is self-defining. When I say essence, it's self-defining. It is the essence, meaning if you were to point an arrow to the center of essence, it would be infinity. There's no end in any direction. But that's not the way they define Atman. But they should, because that is the correct, or let's put it this way. It was the correct meaning when the word Atman was first utilized. Who knows, 50,000 years ago, a million years ago, I don't know. But in its original format, it was the same meaning as essence. Anyways, the nature of yourself, and mind you, the only reason there are things or observational things is because God, Brahma, is the one that is creating and sustaining everything that there is. And we're like gods too, in a way, because we're able to create things in a similar fashion, but like if there were higher realms and lower realms and stuff like that. So this is the God realm that God created. It's the universe and galaxies and everything. We can see them, feel them, touch them, etc., etc. We are not yet like God in our ability to do that, but we are like God in our ability to create this realm over here. Only we can't see this realm that we are creating. And when I say we, there's several billion of us on this planet. Who knows how many have a divine essence at their core, but if they do, then they are creating reality in the same way that Brahma is creating reality, except we can't see the reality that we create. We can sometimes feel it. There is evidence of what reality we are creating. For instance, when you truly love someone with compassion and you do things for these individuals that you know that will make them happy, and you go out of your way to be kind to other people, animals, anything, no matter what it is that you're doing, you're creating an invisible reality, but it's a reality nevertheless. It's only invisible to us at this time because if we could see it, we would alter the things that we create. But the purpose of this reality is so that we create a reality that we can only see and observe when, well, according to Christianity, would be Judgment Day or something, or maybe before that, but certainly not in this existing lifetime. An enlightened individual can see the realities that are being created by human beings, but not perfectly crystal clear. But nevertheless, they can see it. Normal people can feel it, but they can't see it. They can feel love. They can feel hatred. They can feel the creator of greed, for instance, a human being that is very greedy or mean-spirited, or, there's so many things that our essences make our bodies do, that we create this reality that is every bit as tangible as this reality, but we can't see it. And when you compare the reality you create with the reality of Brahma, when the two look pretty much the same, well, then you are probably close to or already one with God. Now you can say, well, okay, well, the reality you're creating here in this reality, you wouldn't have to be a very good person to recreate this, because in this reality, mind you, this particular reality on this particular planet, the god is Shiva or Satan. So this particular god is in control of what's going on here. And so in this reality, you die of cancer, or you have gut aches, or you get old and die, or there's earthquakes and famines, and the list goes on and on and on. So you could say, well, this reality is the reality of suffering. Yeah, you could say that, but that's not the reality created by Brahma that has created the opportunity for us to exist. The only reason people know what love is because that is the same nature of Brahma. And so that's the same thing. You hear that noise outside? Boy, some street sweeper. Anyways, I think that's enough for today that I wanted to cover. And I hope and pray constantly that all of you will gain a little more knowledge every day, that hopefully it brings you closer to God, that when you pray, your prayers will be answered in a way that you will understand, which is phenomenally difficult, by the way. And I want to close by telling you I love you. And I appreciate the comments, good and bad comments I appreciate, because a short side note, the reason I'm laughing is because I myself was in the shoes of some commenters that are somewhat mean-spirited. I don't think that I was ever mean-spirited, but many years ago I had different beliefs on things, and I would make comments to people that I might say, you don't know your butt from a hole in the ground. You don't know what you're talking about. And but they did know what they were talking about. It just took me many years to figure that out on my own. And so I understand that negative comments on these videos, some negative comments, I understand where they're coming from for the most part. They're not bad people. They're not mean-spirited. They just have a profound belief in what they think is real. And but I can tell you, for the most part, you're just started on the path if you think those things, and it'll take a lifetime, and you'll wake up and see the truth, similar to what I do. Last but not least is always pray to this God. And when I say this God, notice how I never name this God. I'll say Brahman, I'll say that. But I'm just saying that for the sake of helping people to visualize that there is a God that is supposedly the highest God. Well, this God is the highest God. But I just say pray to this God because I don't have a name for Brahman. When I pray to God, I just, in my mind, because I was conditioned in other churches, I might say, Dear Father in heaven. But you know what? If you want to say, Dear Grasshopper in heaven, that's fine too, if that's what you believe. Just as long as that is the Creator God that you love and you think is real, that's fine. Because what you don't want to do, in my opinion, what you don't want to do is fixate upon an individual. You don't want to fixate upon Brahma as something rather than just the God that loves you and you love. Because what will happen to you if you do fixate upon something, give it some sort of character or looks or whatever. I even say it. And because in Christianity, and this is true, by the way, if you've got a Sunday school and Christian church and the preacher's up there preaching and everything, and he's preaching about the love of Jesus, and they're singing songs, we love Jesus, the whole congregation, we love Jesus, la 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 la, and stuff like that. And so Jesus walks into the congregation, but he's not in a robe or a beard or anything like that. He just looks like a normal person, and he walks into the church and walks up to the podium, and they're going like, dude, what are you doing here? Well, I heard you praying about me and singing songs of me, and so I thought I'd come up to the podium and tell you a little bit about me and what I've been doing lately. every church would call the cops and have him arrested. I mean, 2,000 years ago, they hung him on a cross and killed him, which was appropriate for the time. These days, it's not appropriate to hang him on a cross. You simply call the police and have him arrested and hauled off. That's what they would do today. So that's because the parishioners have been taught and visualize an individual that their personification of didn't walk in the door. And so they tossed him out. So that's why I don't fixate upon any individual that could be Brahma. Instead, I pray to this love. I pray to this loving God deity that I have no idea what this God looks like. I don't have any idea if it's a he or a she or an it or a grasshopper or just the wind floating across the skies or anything. It matters not to me. I have the utmost profound love for this God that has no name, has no qualities that I know of that I can talk about, other than this is the God that has provided a creation for me and us to exist in and profoundly loves me. And that's why I try to do the same thing and tell you that I profoundly love you. I profoundly hope the best for you. I profoundly hope and pray that your prayers will be answered and that you will be self-sustaining, not dependent upon anybody, any organization, or anything, that you will be individualized, one with God, without another. That is what I hope and pray for. It is a difficult thing. It is a difficult path, but one that is completely and utterly filled with love. And that's why I hope you find that thread, that golden thread that leads you on the path to becoming one with God. And with that, I will close and talk to you guys later. Bye.